Now I found this is one of the most counterintuitive parts of the golf swing, and that's understanding what the momentum of this club wants to do. And once we get this, man, coming up with a solution to a lot of the things that give us trouble in our golf game become really easy. Let's start out with lag. Well, if we set this club very early, so I want you to just grab this club by a couple fingers. You'll notice that if I don't set this club very much at all, and I get almost like a John Rahm swing. So if I get a big back swing, my hands get way back here, but I don't set the club at all, watch what happens when I just take it with 2 fingers and I make my downswing. It automatically wants to get some lag there. The momentum of the club, where it's so far away, as soon as I change directions, it wants to get narrower there. Now what I find most players do is the exact opposite of that. You know, John Rahm has this nice wide takeaway. The club is a mile away from his body, wide at the top, and then as soon as he starts down, it starts to lag. Most players will do the exact opposite of that. We want to get that lag so bad that we start to set the club really early. We think the earlier we can get that lag, the easier it'll be. Well, the same thing, if I set that club early and I get this sharp angle, as soon as I start down, look what it wants to do. It wants to fly away from my body. So a big part of getting lag in the golf swing is understanding how the momentum of this club head wants to relate to what your hands are doing. If you want to get a lot of lag, there's a couple checkpoints here. Feel like your arms stay nice and wide. I want to feel like my club head, when I'm halfway back, is as far away from my body as possible. Now I don't want to slide like this to try to get it farther away, and I don't really want to just push the club out of there. I just want to feel like when I set up, my arms are nice and relaxed on the club, and as I rotate back, I keep it nice and wide. At the top of the swing, what I want you to feel is you make a big turn. Really get those shoulders going, really get those hands nice and high, but I want you to feel like you don't set the club very much at all. You're gonna feel like the club's up here. In reality, it's gonna be much closer to parallel. But if you feel like it's up here, as you start down, the club's naturally gonna start to lag, and then it's gonna whip through contact, and you're gonna have a lot of speed. Let me go ahead and use that same feeling. That's not what it's gonna look like on camera, but I'm gonna feel exactly what I told you there. And notice how I have tons of lag here, and I can really get a lot of club head speed without feeling like I have to swing all that hard. Let's give it a whirl. There we go, and I really felt like that club, as it's coming down, it almost wanted to hit me in the shoulder. All the momentum was working this way rather than picking up early and throwing it that way. Now, that same idea, what is the momentum of the club doing, works great if you're slicing the ball. Now, same idea. If I feel like I take that arm and I drag the club inside, what ends up happening? I get the club inside. As it loops around, the momentum of that club wants it to be steep. So it looks something like this. If I grab it with a couple fingers, I drag it inside, all of a sudden the club gets steep like this, and it wants to chop down over the top. What I want you to do here, as you're going wide, just like we talked about, getting that club way away from you, feel like it stays outside your hands. The player that does this to the most extreme would be a Matt Wolff. He does this to times 10, but I want you to feel like you have a little bit more of that Matt Wolff swing. It's not going to look like that at all, but if you feel like that club goes out, now when you change directions, it's going to loop to the inside. Now, that feels a little bit crazy. That looks crazy when Matt Wolff does it. I don't want you to do anything like he's doing, but if you feel like you have a little bit more of that in your swing, it's going to end up looking like a really good swing where the club drops in the slot from the inside like we've been working on. Now again, I'm going to have the feeling like I make a Matt Wolff swing, just a little bit of that Matt Wolff swing, and you're going to see how my club really wants to shallow out, and it also helps me to get a nice draw when I'm doing that. So here I'm going to feel this, the club comes up, and then it changes direction and shallows out. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like when I make a real swing doing that. There we go, hit that one great. And you can see that it didn't look crazy when I actually swung like that. A little bit goes a long way. You'll be surprised how much easier it is for you to get from the inside when you're doing that filling. Now there's one more piece of this that can make this happen, or it can destroy it for you. Even if we try to do everything I talked about there, if we're missing this piece, it's all gonna fall down the drain. It's all gonna be terrible. So what I see most players do in the downswing is we tend to stand up. Our body gets farther away from the golf ball, and then we have to throw our hands down at it. So it doesn't matter how wide we get at the top. It doesn't matter how much this club wants to lag. We're destroying all that by backing out of the shot, and then we have to throw our hands. We have to cast and release lag just to be able to reach the golf ball. Also, we're losing our posture at the same time. I have a great drill for you called the knuckle dragger that's going to make this so much easier. If you've been trying to get more lag for a long time and it hasn't worked very well for you, this is going to make it very simple. I want you to feel like as you start down, we get our hips moving in a certain way and we get our arms moving in a certain way to where we get this hands much lower to the ground. You see now, that's what the pros are doing to get this big angle of lag and still be able to hit the golf ball. If I took this big angle of lag and I stood up out of my posture, no way to hit the golf ball from here other than to flip to be able to reach it. I'm going to play a preview of the knuckle dragger drill here in just one moment. All you're going to want to do is go ahead and click the circle, what's called an iCard up on the top of the screen, and you're going to get instant access to that. If you don't see that card, don't worry about that. Go down to the description below, click the link there, and you'll get instant access there. I can't wait to share with you the knuckle dragger drill. I know it's a game changer for a lot of players, and it's going to be a lot of fun to work on it with you. Let's go and get started right now. I got an awesome video for you. This one is what I call knuckle dragger. This is one of the best ones, one of the big missing pieces to players that are struggling to get more lag. Now, let's talk about when you lose lag, what's happening. A lot of times what's happening is as you make your downswing, if we're looking from this down the line view, what happens is my hips go toward the golf ball, they start to slide forward. My chest moves back away from this golf ball, so I'm getting farther away from the golf ball, and then all of a sudden I cast, I flip, and I don't have a lot of lag there. Well, look how far my hands are away from the ground. Also notice when I get my hands closer to the ground, so as my hands get lower, then what happens is they also go forward more. So as I want to have more lag, when you feel like your knuckles are dragging the ground, then that club is naturally going to lag back behind, and then you're going to release that out in front. When your hands are far away from the ground, well, if I had all that lag, where would I be swinging? I'd be swinging a foot over top of the golf ball. So you have to kind of flip, release that lag early to just make contact with the golf ball at all. So having those knuckles feeling like they're scraping the ground is really going to be a big key. Now, another piece to this, again, when I talked about losing that posture, your hips go forward. You're going to want to feel like, as those hands scrape the ground, your knuckles drag the ground.